Rigathi Gachagua publicly announced yesterday that he's going to be having a 2 months US of A tour.
I'm going to America for 2 months.
People are asking, what is Rigathi Gachagua going to be doing in the US of A for a whole 2 months? Is he not afraid of losing the base that he's gained for the last 8 months?
Makuzo muko. Makuzo muko.
And is what he's going to get there worth the risk? Because you cannot be in 2 places at the same time. Fortunately for you guys, we've been able to get our hands on some information that is going to be useful to answer those very questions. Let's do that.
United States.
You see, officially, there is what Rigathi Gachagua has said he's going to do in America. That bit he spoke in Kikuyu. This is what he said. So that is officially what Rigathi Gachagua is saying he's going to do in the US of A. But then, what is the hidden reason? I once was talking to someone who said, when a politician says something, do not listen to what he said. Focus on what they didn't say. So, what is the hidden agenda behind going to the America?
8 a.m. this morning, and Raila Odinga's supporters started streaming into Uhuru Park, Nairobi, to accord Code Principal Raila Odinga a warm welcome after his 3-month trip to the USA.
This visit to America is a visit that almost all presidential candidates before him have done.
All right, still on politics, and Azimio la Umoja, one Kenya presidential candidate, Raila Odinga, is in the United States for a week-long official tour.
When it comes to Uhuru Kenyatta, he launched an imagery hub before 2013, and this was because his image was very much damaged by the post-election violence in 2007. So he was trying to make himself someone that people from international community would be comfortable with. And also there's the William Ruto visit before 2022. So we've seen this pattern where the presidents or people who are willing to be presidents of this country end up going to the US to get almost like validation or to get like blessings from the Western people. Because we know, even though the US don't directly pick our president, the Western countries don't like surprises. Hawataki tu mtu atoke tu na huko akuwe president. They want to know that we can work with that guy. And that has always been the pattern. But here's the problem. Kenyans have not yet accepted that Rigathi Gachagua can be a presidential candidate for them.
Rigathi Gachagua is a good candidate, but not for presidency. If it's about presidency, not 2027.
They are comfortable with him mobilizing support. They are comfortable with him being an opposition leader, but they've not yet made peace with him being the president.
Naambia mheshimiwa Rigathi, hii mambo ya kusema anasimama tafadhali achane naye. Akifanya hivyo, amapatia Ruto highway ya kurudi State House.
He's almost inherited the curse that was following Raila Odinga for a long time, where people could see him as the premium material for an opposition leader, but not a president. And that, unfortunately, has been the curse of Raila Odinga up until now. So Rigathi Gachagua is suffering the same thing, where Kenyans embrace him whenever he's fighting the government, but whenever he says, man, I want to be the president, guys are like, nah, I don't think that is where we want you to be. Some of the things that may have gotten him here is the impeachment. The impeachment did quite a number to his reputation. Of course, his reputation wasn't all that good even before the impeachment. But the impeachment was like a rubber stamp that this guy is not a good guy. Also, some people say that he lacks national appeal, although that is something he's trying to fight so hard to put behind him. He's trying to appear like a national leader.
Today, I can officially confirm Riggy G is actually getting the right briefings. He made it very clear that there is no animosity that can exist between the two communities of Somali community and Kikuyu community.
But once in a while, you'll hear him slide back to, the Mount Kenya guy. Most people have also seen him as tribal and outdated. This means they see him as someone who doesn't see Kenyans first. He sees your tribe, then he recognizes that you're Kenyan. And that, especially for Gen Zs and the young people, they're seeing that as something that used to work a long time ago, but right now isn't working. We want people who are able to recognize you first as Kenyan, and then second, or even uko number 10, they can look at your tribe. For that, his politics are viewed to be tribal and outdated. There are so many odds that are stacked against Rigathi Gachagua's presidential bid. You ask yourself, why is he trying to tick all the boxes that are supposed to be ticked by a serious presidential candidate who is going for the presidency?
I'll be more than happy to face William Ruto and become president and restore the dignity of the Kenyan people, restore the payslip, and bring back our country and good governance.
If he doesn't fit to run for presidency, why is he trying so hard to do the things that only a serious presidential candidate does?
Where Rigathi Gachagua is already a man of his own weight. You can't underrate him anymore. Anybody underrating Gachagua will be doing so at his own peril. Gachagua, if he was to run, he will force a rerun. He may be number 1 in round 1 or number 2, but he will force a rerun.
It's almost getting to a point that people are beginning to see Rigathi Gachagua might seriously not be willing to let anyone else take that chance and opt to go for the top seat himself.
Rigathi Gachagua atapigania kiti cha urais na atashinda na kura mingi sana.
So let us look at what this US tour would do for Rigathi Gachagua and whether it would actually heal his political cancer.
I'm going to America for 2 months.
So number 1, the US tour is going to be a perfect rebranding exercise for him. After the political fallout with the President Ruto, he almost lacks legitimacy to be a leader because people are like, man, an impeached leader. He's the only impeached member of the presidency, whether deputy president or president. He's the only one in Kenya. So that put a very big dent to his reputation. This is going to be like a rebranding exercise. And it's going to be 2 months where he's missing from this country. 2 months of almost creating a vacuum in the opposition. And when the vacuum is going to be created in the country where his absence is going to be felt, I feel like he's now trying to fill the vacuum outside the country. The Western media is clearly not very happy with the way that Ruto has run this government for the last 2.5 years. They've spoken about it. They've spoken especially about human rights violation. So Gachagua presenting himself as an alternative and as a formidable alternative, shaking hands with the lobbyists, people who lobby for presidents, investors, that will give him a lot of legitimacy. And all these things put together will present to people a Rigathi Gachagua who is not the tribal Mount Kenya, Kikuyu, Mulima guy, but rather someone who would probably be fit to run the country in a national level. Probably when he's coming back, even his fashion taste is going to have changed. Of course, we know that there's a lot of consultants for elections in the US. So I feel like also Rigathi Gachagua is going to be doing a lot of consultations on how he can brand himself so that he can be a viable option to replace Ruto. So the US tour presents a lot of things for Rigathi Gachagua, but let us not forget one of the main things that might have taken him there. There's a lot of Kikuyus in the US. We have people who have invested in big farms in the US who do business, a lot of big business. These guys are going to be very important going into the next election because analysts have called it the most expensive election ever. Make no mistake, Rigathi Gachagua has some money, but he doesn't have enough money to run a good campaign to unseat the sitting president. The sitting president has unlimited funds to do whatever it is that he wants to do to retain his seat. It's going to be a battle of titans, bro. This is going to be the most expensive, the most high-stakes election ever since the independence of this country. We have two guys who have no desire to lose. We have a country where the stakes are too high is going to get ugly. So every helping hand that Rigathi Gachagua can win to his side, he's going to do that. So if he successfully does this US tour for 2 months, by the time he's coming back, he's not going to come back as just Rigathi Gachagua. He might even have an effect of, you remember when Baba went, and then when he came back, there was the whole Baba while you are away.
Baba while you are away.
So make no mistake, this tour to the US is not just a tour. It is going to be a test run for what is to come in 2027. But the main questions remain after this US tour, after the rebranding, after everything that he's going to be able to have access to after the US tour. Will he now be able to convince the Gen Z and the general public to see him as someone fit to run this country? Or is he still going to be fighting for a throne that nobody wants him to occupy? You can tell us in the comment section.